Here is an IELTS Band 9 interview by Amva from India for parts 1, 2, and 3. After the interview, we will analyze her speaking for vocabulary, expressions, and grammar to give these best answers on your next IELTS speaking. Welcome to the speaking portion of the IELTS exam. My name is Adrian. I will be your examiner for this part of the test, and I will give you instructions for each of the parts. I'm recording this for marking purposes. This is candidate number 98513, and we are conducting the exam in Bihar, in Patna. The time right now is 14 o'clock. Before we continue, may I see your identification?
Yes, of course. Here is my passport that I used a few weeks ago to register for this test. Please take a look.
What is your full name?
My first name is Amva and my last name is Devi. So please just call me Amva.
Okay, Amba. For part 1, I will ask you a couple of questions to get to know you better and some questions on a general topic. Where do you live?
I live in Patna, the capital of the state of Bihar, in a 3-bedroom apartment with my family.
Do you have any hobbies?
Yes, I do have a couple of different hobbies. I really like to cook and I like to sew. Last week I made a nice dress for my best friend.
Let's talk about numbers. Do you have a favorite number?
Yes, I do. The number I favor most is number 9 because it has brought me luck over the years. In fact, on the 9th of the last month, I got a good news that I got a scholarship.
What are some important numbers for you to remember?
There are some crucial numbers that we have to remember, like our home address and our phone number, as well as our social security number. I use this quite often in society. Like a few weeks ago, I had to use this to register for this test.
How do numbers affect our lives?
I suppose that numbers have lots of impact on people's everyday activities. We use the numbers to quantify the world around us, like measuring time, also for communication, like telling person our age.
If you could choose 2 lucky numbers, what would they be?
Well, I think the number 9 would be the one, and another would be 18. I'm not sure why, but I always like these numbers.
Have you ever forgotten an important number?
Yes, I have. I'm embarrassed to say, but one time I actually forgot my phone number because I hadn't used it for so long, so I had to look it up on my phone.
That's the end of part 1. Now we will continue with part 2. For part 2, I'm going to show you a card with some questions on it. Here's some note paper, and you will have 1 minute to look at the questions, think about your answers, and then you will have 2 minutes to speak. I will tell you when to start, when to stop. Of course, you can take notes in the 1 minute if you wish. Talk about an event that you could organize to help people. Your 1 minute preparation time begins now. Your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
Okay. After some consideration, I think the event I most likely organize to help the needy is a soup kitchen. By this, I mean a large banquet with lots of healthy and nutritious food for the people who are hungry and starving. As I had mentioned in the first part of this interview that I really like to cook, so I think this would be a great way to share my passion with other people while giving them much needed sustenance. I would make some delicious kadhi bari with litti with my special naan bread. I would love to host this event at a large community hall, like the one that's a few kilometers away from my home, as it can sit a couple of 100 people. I think the best time to organize this event would be in summer, when there is often less food from drought and even more people are in a difficult situation. I would not only invite hungry and impoverished citizens in my neighborhood, but I would also invite some volunteers to help me with the event. Also, I need some chefs and also some people to help me serve the food. and clean up after. Also, I need some local journalists and some local authorities in the hopes of inspiring some more similar events in the near future, and maybe getting some ongoing funding as well. I think this event would be helpful in many ways beyond feeding only hungry and impoverished children and adults. This could be helpful in creating a sense of community spirit and really bringing people together.
That is the end of part 2, so I will stop you there. Can you please pass back the questions, or actually just turn it over and put it to the side? Yep, and same with your notes. Just turn them over and put it to the side with your pen. And now we will continue with part 3. For this part, I will ask you a question related to your part 2 response and some questions on this topic. How much funding would you need for this event to be a success?
Maybe if I would estimate, I think I need at least 70 to 80,000 rupees in total.
Let's talk about helping in the community. What are ways that people can help their communities be a better place?
There are so many different ways which people can adapt to assist their communities, like I just mentioned, like a soup kitchen. Also, they can organize some cleanup events like picking up garbage on the streets. Also, volunteering at a local hospital. I used to volunteer at a local hospital a few hours to help elderly with the meal time, and it was very rewarding.
Some individuals feel that people are less involved with their communities than 20 years ago. Do you agree with this?
I don't think that I agree with this statement, but I think this may be the case recently due to social distancing. But I think in Bihar, the people are as selfless as before and dedicate considerable time to their local neighborhoods.
How can governments motivate citizens to be more helpful in their communities?
Authorities can run various campaigns like ads on social media and on TV to encourage people to contribute more. Also, they can provide incentives like scholarships or grants to the students who contribute the most to help their communities thrive.
Let's talk about charities. Many people give lots of money to charities. Is this always good?
Although it is good to donate money for a good cause, like helping environment and animals, but I don't think it is always good to spend lots of money to charities all the time. But I think it is more important to be personally involved and volunteer. And this is often much more effective that funds are not spent on administration and advertising.
What are some different kinds of charities and how do they help society?
That's a big question because there are so many different charities in the world today. There are so many charities that help sick children, animals, and the environment, like UNICEF, World Wildlife Fund, and Red Cross. These help society to improve the quality of their life, and they provide help and jobs to many individuals nowadays.
Will there be new kinds of charities in the future that did not exist today?
That's a tough prediction, but if I have to, I would answer yes. As we know, future always brings some sort of novelty, and I don't think that charities would be any different. Maybe in the far future, I think there would be some charities that will help save the planet, moons, and stars. And I do think that it requires quite an imagination.
That is the end of part 3. That concludes the speaking portion of the IELTS exam. You will have your mark online in a couple of days, and you will see your mark with your official certificate in the mail. Have a nice day, Anva.
Thank you. You too as well.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Amma gives the best answers for a Band 9 because she meets the expert level of English on all 4 criteria of the speaking interview: fluency and coherence, lexical resource, grammatical range and accuracy, and pronunciation. According to the IELTS, a Band 9 fluency and coherence is when A candidate speaks fluently without pausing or only pausing slightly to think about information for the content and not for vocabulary and grammar. Amba does a fantastic job of this. She speaks continuously with good pacing and speed, nice intonation, and she takes pauses just a couple of times to think about what she's going to say. Like in part 2, where she pauses to look at her notes to remind herself of her ideas. That's absolutely okay, and that's a good idea. Also, she speaks with appropriate cohesive features. This means that she connects her ideas. She uses the English language naturally with correlations, saying therefore, as a result, if, when. She uses correlative conjunctions like not only but also, both and, whether or, neither nor. Her ideas are connected strongly and create a holistic picture or concept in the mind of the listener. Also, her answers are appropriate and fully developed. That's because she often gives an answer, explanation, and an example to the questions being asked. This creates clear understanding and good visual imagery in the mind of the examiner. Amba does a fantastic job giving these best answers. Let's talk a bit more about Lexical Resource. According to IELTS, Band 9 Lexical Resource is when a candidate can use a broad range of vocabulary with precision regardless of the topic, being able to choose the exact correct word to express an idea clearly for that topic. Amba does an incredible job giving great answers. Notice all of the vocabulary that she uses in part 2 when talking about the charitable event. She's able to dynamically and accurately express herself. As well, for IELTS Band 9, you need to produce idiomatic language that is natural, that you would hear a native English speaker use naturally in content. This means that you can't force idioms into a situation. I often hear students using idioms like, I was over the moon, or to hit two birds with one stone, but it doesn't really make sense in the context. It feels forced. In order to use idioms naturally, you have to learn lots of them and only use them when they are appropriate. Amba does just that. Now, idiomatic language doesn't necessarily mean that you have to use these very complicated idioms like don't throw bricks when you live in a glass house. They can be simple. They can be phrasal verbs like I came across my friend at the shopping mall. Came across is a phrasal verb that means to encounter, to meet someone by accident. So when you're thinking natural idiomatic language, don't think about complex metaphorical idioms. Just keep it simple and you can get a Band 9. Amba does an incredible job to express herself clearly and use idiomatic language. Again, according to the publicly available speaking interview marking criteria, grammatical range and accuracy at the Band 9 level means that the candidate can use a full range of grammar appropriately and naturally. This means using present perfect, conditionals, past perfect, passive voice, active voice, and the like. One quick tip here is listen to the question. If the question is being asked in present perfect, then definitely use present perfect in your answer. If the question is a conditional, then use the conditional when responding. In part 1, Amba does just that. Again, this shows that she is an expert communicator in the English language. The fourth criteria is pronunciation. Now, don't overthink this. You do not have to sound exactly like a native speaker. There are a lot of different styles of pronunciation and dialects of English. There's British English, American English, Australian English, Canadian English, Irish English, Scottish English. There are many, and they all sound different. For Band 9 pronunciation, what's important is that your pronunciation is consistent and there is subtlety to your pronunciation. This means that what you are saying can be understood effortlessly by the examiner. What I mean here is that when you're using your words, the examiner doesn't have to kind of squint and go, what was that? What did this person? Oh yeah, okay, that's what they're saying. No, the examiner should just go, yeah, I got that. Okay, that's clear, yeah. And for me, in this interview, Amma's pronunciation was just that. It was 100% clear. I did not have to strain or really try to figure out what she was trying to say. Her words were subtle and accurate and clearly pronounced. So practice these 4 features individually: grammar, pronunciation, lexical resource, fluency, and then put them together for that high band score. Amma can do it, so can you. For more video lessons like this one, in order to get those high band scores for all sections of your next IELTS exam, visit and join our premium package at gieltshelp.com. Begin learning for success today. Subscribe to our channel. Click over here. Watch another video? Click right up here. And join our premium package. Click on our hero to practice your speaking, get videos, exams, and an interactive course.